Hey everyone, Vlad and Gadget here, taking a look at the Sony Ericsson Xperia Arc. This is one of the thinner Android smartphones coming out soon. It's 8.7 millimeters thick. So the major selling point with it is exactly the fact that it's very thin, very light, very attractive to look at. It has a 4.2-inch screen. It's just an LCD, but Sony Ericsson put something called the Mobile Bravia engine on it, which enhances pictures and video when you're viewing them. We're going to give you a demonstration of that in a little bit, but first we should probably just take a look at the interface a little bit and then maybe take a tour of the device. First of all, what we're looking at here is the Mediascape widget. Mediascape used to be a fundamental part of the Sony Ericsson interface back with the Xperia X10, but now it's just been turned into a widget which you're actually able to remove. But it's actually very good. It goes through your media, pictures and video immediately on your home screen. You don't actually have to enter the application in order to browse them. And then you can access them just by tapping on what you want to take a look at. And this is the gallery application where you can browse through your pictures. Coming out of that, over here to the side, this is Timescape. Again, very important part of the Xperia X10 user experience has actually been reduced to just a simple widget. This puts together any text messages you might have received, Twitter feeds and Facebook feeds if you've decided to sign into those. The trouble with Timescape is that it tends to bog down. It can get very laggy and very slow, which isn't happening right now, but on occasion when you just swipe to the home screen that has Timescape on it, it takes you a good while to load up. The other issue is that whatever your friend's avatar is, it gets stretched and it's quite unattractive to look at. Such as here, I mean, these are people's photos and they look pretty terrible on the whole. But as we say, it's now removable. You can just get rid of it like so. Mediascape as well, and this giant clock, whatever you want to do. As you might have just seen there are some pretty nice animations, pretty slick animations when you're moving icons around. There's this elastic animation going on with the Twitter icon here. Then if we decide to dump it, it does a little 3D animation, 3D look. So it's quite attractive. As I said in the review, Sony Ericsson's interface here is very nice and very nicely done, and it's very stylish. And you just saw the standard Android gallery application is also available. Going into the applications menu, it's very quick and responsive to get into, as you can see. That's very slick indeed. And we have 3 screens with applications. You scroll through them laterally. You can sort them in alphabetical order, which is what we've done, or you can do your own. Or you can use them. You can sort them by most used and recently installed order. All of them are quite handy, quite useful. It's a very nice way actually to organize your apps. Really appreciate that. The same is also true of the contacts. It's exactly as with the applications menu. They're very quick to get into, very smooth, and very attractive to look at as well. They also have Twitter updates from your friends, if you've assigned a Twitter profile to go with your friend's contact page. Messaging application similarly moves very nice and quick. Here you can see the on-screen keyboard. It reminds us of the one on Apple's iPhone in some respects. However, we actually would prefer the gingerbread default one. The keys here are quite tall, but they're not really wide enough, and this little button here which toggles between the alphabet and the number pad is a little bit too tiny, and oftentimes we would drop down the keyboard like so, or press the command button instead of it. Here's the keyboard in landscape mode. It's very comfortable in landscape mode. We really like to use it. It would just ideally have been as useful in portrait mode. What we also do is take a look at browser rendering here. When you have really zoomed far out on the page, there are some issues with the way it renders the pages. There are a few jagged lines and aliasing, but on the whole it performs pretty well. Scrolling isn't the smoothest in the world, but does the job. Same pretty much goes for pinch and zoom. It takes a little bit to get going, but again, does the job. We can't really complain about any of that. Browser performance has been generally perfectly acceptable. We've had no complaints about it. Renders in Gadget.com very well, exactly as it should, and you know it can play back Flash within the browser. We'll try and actually take a look at a video here.
Galaxy together. You will be tempted by the dark side. You are the chosen one! You must confront Vader. That boy is our last hope.
Okay, so all the sound in that video came out of this one loudspeaker down here at the bottom. It's actually very decently positioned because of the curvature of the phone. There tends to be a gap between your palm and the back of the phone here, which is where the sound tends to fire out to. It's a pretty decent loudspeaker on the whole, and that actually gives us a chance to take a look around the outside of the device as well. Over here we have the camera shutter button, which is actually very far off to the right. It's almost at the corner, and that controls this 8 megapixel camera, which we had some pretty nice stills results from. The video isn't that great. LED flash here on the side. Second microphone over here, presumably for taking care of noise during photos, stuff like that. Back is generally clean. Got a volume rocker, which is, you might be able to hear. We managed to get a few squeaks and creaks out of. And that's right next to a micro USB port and a status LED light. HDMI port on the top. Power button, which is quite tiny, a bit of a pain to get hold of. There's really no reason why it needs to be that small. 3.5mm headphone jack. Nothing on the other side. Let's take a look on the inside. Plastic cover, flexible. It's a bit better than the one on the Xperia Play actually, but you know, it's just plastic, nothing special about it. 1500 milliamp hour battery in here. Contrary to the Xperia Play, you do actually have to remove the battery to access both the micro SD card. 8GB card comes as standard, and your SIM card, which isn't great, but you know, that's what most people do anyway. You can take a look at the second microphone and a little close up of the camera, which, as we say, is pretty great for stills photos, but wasn't so great for video. Alright, and that's just a very quick look at the Sony Ericsson Xperia ARC.